you indeed have come even this far, and yet your journey is far from over.
Captain Bloodborne and I are here to talk about the precursor to all of this madness. No, it just annoyed me like normal. Yeah. This is called Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. Now, Dark Souls 2 sounds familiar because that game was released last year, and I think Ben and Jose reviewed it. Jose cried a lot, and Ben tried to calm him down. And then Jose fell in love with the game, which it's a vaunted tale around here. But we have finally taken a look at this title. It is another director's cut or another collector's edition, another reissue.
Do-over with extra bonus content, new visuals. Let's give it all a new coat of paint. Even though almost everybody who's interested in video games has already probably played this game, people have been talking about Demon Souls and Dark Souls around the office for as long as I think I've worked here, and everybody is in love with this thing. The only people that are really going to be interested in Scholar of the First Sin are going to be the people who missed the boat the first time around, which is me. I missed the boat the first time around.
And me too. We weren't assigned the review of these titles, and Bloodborne kind of perked our interest, and we just reviewed that one. And
more than perked my interest, it stoked the fires of interest.
And now we've got a look back at one of the best games of 2014 with a bunch of extra content and some manipulation of the assets and the things that you are familiar with to make it feel fresh. It's got a 60 frames per second coat of paint as well, which I think makes a huge difference. Now, I played a little bit of Dark Souls 2 on PS3. I died a lot. And I played a bit of Dark Souls 2 on the PC. So this was refreshing to see everything up-res, but compared to Bloodborne, it doesn't look anywhere near as good as that.
The controls don't feel quite as sophisticated or as evolved as they do with Bloodborne. I felt like you had a little more movement. I felt a little more acrobatic in Bloodborne, and this feels a little more starched and stiff. That said, Bloodborne for me was the gateway drug to these games. I had so much fun. I haven't finished Bloodborne. I'm trying, everybody. But I've had so much fun with that game that it really makes me want to get back on board in the Dark Souls train and the Demon Souls train and see what everybody else has seen, because now I kind of understand these worlds. I kind of understand the logic of it now. And again, just like in Bloodborne, I was prepared at the start not to really know where I'm going or what I'm supposed to do. And I was okay with that. I was okay with the ambiguity of it.
If you've dabbled at all with Dark Souls 2, you'll notice differences right away too. You'll see giants that are appearing in different spots that weren't there before.
Giants in different spots, right on the box.
So if you've memorized everything or if you've played through like crazy, this is going to feel a little bit fresh, but it's really like a 1.5. It's just a tweak. But you get all of the DLC that was included with Dark Souls 2 upon its original release, which is a nice extension to everything. I mean, it's a massive amount of content in here and lots of different kinds of cool leveling up, all kinds of fantastic weapons and things that you'll find. All this stuff that you would want out of the best RPGs, but then you add in this element of risking it all to go forward by trying to get to the next bonfire or cashing in the souls that you have to kind of level up by going back to the previous bonfire. I just feel like it's a slower paced experience. It's a little more methodical, and you get right up to the bad guys a lot more.
Bloodborne, I feel like that's my real game, but I'm enjoying this little digression that was made by the same people. It's very exciting to play, and I think if you're interested in this kind of game, if you like difficult games, or you like RPGs, or you like action games, how can you turn away from Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin?
It's also a fiction thing too. I mean, you may not be into the whole gothic horror vibe of Bloodborne and may prefer a kind of traditional RPG that's littered with lots of confusion and lots of things that you don't really understand or appreciate, but that's part of the game design. I think there's definitely room for both of these franchises in your library.
You always make room in your boat.
I always make room in my boat, and I had a blast playing through Dark Souls 2 again. It's an incredible game, and if you missed it the first time, you absolutely got to get out there and get this thing. I'm giving it a 9.5. How about you?
This gets a 9 from me.